I'm sure you know that Psalm 119 is actually the longest psalm in the book of Psalms. But don't dismiss it because it's long, because there are just incredible things in there. This is a psalm that's all about God's law, God's righteousness, and it's incredible. It's an acrostic psalm, so it starts with each section a different letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it's incredible. But there's just one little thing which I want to bring out, which really helps. You might think it's all about knowing God's law, and that knowing God's law is actually going to make a big difference in your life. Knowing is not quite enough. There are lots of people who know the law, but actually never keep it. In fact, when Jesus was dealing with the young lawyer who came to him, he had this conversation, and it was interesting because he had the law right there represented by the lawyer. And he was saying to this man, if you do this, you'll live. And that's absolutely true. But the challenge is that actually fulfilling the law in the way that Jesus had in mind is really, really difficult. The good news is, and I love the way that a certain really well-known preacher and theologian said this, is that yes, that is true. Do this and you will live. But the good news is that in Jesus, because we've been made alive, we can say, live and you will do this. So there's a sense in which knowing is not just enough. And in fact, the power to keep the law comes from knowing that living relationship with Jesus in the power of the Holy Spirit, because then the law is written on our hearts and on our minds. But as David, or whoever was writing Psalm 119, was working through letter after letter, coming up with poems that fitted each of those letters, he brings home a truth which I want to share with you. It's in Psalm 119, verse 165. It's not often you get as far as 165 in verses in the Psalms. And this is what it says: great peace have those who love your law, and nothing can make them stumble. And I think the word love is really important there. Great peace have those who love your law. It's not just enough to know it. You've got to love it. You've got to really love the whole sense of God setting boundaries, giving clarity, giving direction. You've got to love it. You've got to fall in love with the fact that we've got a God who cares for us so much that he doesn't leave us in the dark about what he expects from us. So let's love the law of God, and that will keep us from stumbling. And that fits in so well with that verse at the end of the book of Jude, which says, now unto him who's able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless before the throne of his grace. And I just love that thought that there are ways in which we can be kept from stumbling. So walk confidently, knowing that as you love God's ways and his law and God himself, he's going to keep you from falling.